Good afternoon. BBLOT Podcast Studio is in the building. Your host, Montana, with another podcast review. So today we're going to talk about taxes. But before we get into taxes, let me give you some updates on our classes and times and group home training and everything. So hopefully I got it down the list. So a lot of people have been calling and saying, well, Montana, when's your next class going to be starting? Okay, so our class is already started now, so if you haven't got in to the last class of the year, it's too late. You have to come in January. January is the perfect time to start coming to training, class training, getting your businesses together, learning about how to operate your businesses professionally, and basically learning how to operate them. I can't even remember the words, but anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So our classes is going to be starting as of January the 12th. It's a Sunday from 1:30 to 4:30, and it's going to go for 7 weeks. So you're going to have 7 weeks of training. It's one class once a week for 7 weeks. If you're looking into getting your nonprofit structure, your for-profit structure, learning what an LLC is, learning what an S Corp, C Corp, learning how to operate your nonprofit successfully, come to this program in January. January 12th is the time. You can start registering now for it. We're going to also be having a workshop. So workshop is coming up December the 14th from 10 o'clock a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And that is learning your grants, learning your financial literacy, learning insurances, learning the business, how to operate the business with these insurances and grants. So that is the first workshop we're going to be having on December 14th from 10 to 3:30. So if you're interested in registering, it's going to be on Eventbrite. So go on to Eventbrite under BBLOT Incorporated and register for that training. It's only a one-day workshop. So when you come in, start getting everything you need for that upcoming year. So that's when you're going to be coming to a class and get trained. Other than that, just come to the workshop and get the information. Also, group home training is going to be starting January 4th. Yeah, I think January 4th. So I'm looking at the calendar. So January 4th from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So if you're interested in group home training, 11 to 5 is a group home training course. There's going to be 2 classes, so it's going to be on the 4th and the 18th. So you have 2 trainings, and it's going to be one class every 2 weeks. If you're interested, give me a call at 216-978-0386. 216-978-1700. Call that 216-978-1700. All right, so today, let me tell you a little bit about BBLOT before I introduce my guests. So basically, BBLOT stands for Building Business Leaders of Tomorrow Today. And what we do is instead of just getting your paperwork together and say, hey, I can do this at home, I can look at a TikTok video, I can look at a YouTube video, and I can put all my business paperwork together and just, copy what they're doing. And then now I'm up and I got my business going. I got my Secretary of State done. I got my EIN done. I got my nonprofit done if you're looking at that nonprofit aspect. So now you got all your paperwork done, and now you don't know what to do. You don't know how to operate your business correctly. A lot of people that come to our program don't know what an operating agreement is. They don't know what bylaws is needed for getting that business established. It's a lot of key things that you do not know when you get your business established. So when you come to BBLOT, we give you that coaching and training you need to get that business up and running successfully. Also, you putting your paperwork together incorrectly, because some people do LLCs, but then they run it as a sole proprietorship, or some people have sole proprietorships that they establish, but then they're running it as a LLC, or some people have nonprofits that they're running as a for-profit, and it's vice versa. So come in and get the correct information on how to run these businesses correctly. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Karla Foster Koonce. And she's going to tell the gossip of what's going on in these taxes, the business world, the personal world, everything you want to know about taxes. She's going to give you the scoop, the tea, the gossip, the everything on some tragedies that might happen to somebody and some successes. So I want to introduce her today. So thank you for coming to the show, Miss Karla.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
All right. So let's talk about how long have you been doing taxes?
35 years.
35 years? Mm-hmm. All right, great. And in that profession, what have you seen come across your table? Just examples.
30 minutes is not enough time, but
okay.
Yeah, but I have seen a lot. One of the most tragic things I notice is that when people are so frightened to file their taxes because they're uneducated or they don't know. They're thinking, well, I filed exempt. I didn't put the zero where I was supposed to go on the W-4 form, and they took out too much taxes. They didn't take out enough taxes, so sometimes it freezes people and they don't do anything. I mean, so that causes a lot of turmoil because there's a 3-year statute limitation on filing taxes and getting a refund. So one of the clients I recently did, he did not file for 9 years, and he wanted to get his visa. He wanted to get out of the country. He wanted to get his passport. And because he did not file, the entity that you send your money to get your passport, they took his money, they took the filing fee, and he sent him back a letter saying that you have not filed your federal taxes.
Oh, wow. So let's start a little bit. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. You're going to school right now to be a forensic account specialist, or did I say it right?
A forensic accountant.
A forensic accountant, and that's like that's over a master's degree, or that's like master's.
I'm going to pursue right now. I'm pursuing my bachelor's in that field, but I would like to get my doctor's in that field.
Okay.
And what a forensic accountant does is they take apart. Like forensic is all about taking things apart and dissecting.
Okay.
So when you think about people who fraudulently file taxes or do not report their taxes properly, or they file children on your taxes, which is illegal, or they underreport their income, which is also illegal. The forensic accountant, on the criminal side, they are responsible for reporting the correct findings.
Okay.
And in the case where he did not want to mask his tax returns in lieu of what they may find.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of tax. Y'all ready? Everything probably y'all want to know about taxes or had them questions y'all be asking me and I don't know the answer, I can't give it to you. Guess what? She gonna give you them answers. So let's start about, you got people that's doing people's taxes right now. They don't have no clue about this and that. They don't sign the bottom of the tax forms. What do you say to those people that's making all this money, or they supposedly make all this money and doing people's taxes, like copy and pasting it, and then they saying, hey, I did your taxes, now run me my money?
First of all, you want to be very, very cautious of who you give your information to. You have your children's Social Security, your wife, your husband, your date of birth. In order for them to really do anything to generate a return, they have to have all that information. So if anything ever transpires where you have to get a PIN, identity PIN from the IRS, that is because at some point in time, and you can think back to who you gave your information to, someone went to the internet and you can go to any site, TurboTax, wherever, and just file a return and see if the money goes into your account. Most of the times the IRS will stop it, and then but they won't send you a letter because of personal information. They're not supposed to, but if you call in and say, okay, or you come to a practitioner like myself, you say, file my taxes, and then when I do file that return, it will come back with a signal telling me that return has already been previously filed. Mm-hmm. And that's a sad situation because during this time, people, they work all year. They're looking forward to their money. They're looking forward to their state check. And that's been another issue. Now we have an identity format, a compliance check with the state because practitioners in the past have been stealing people's state checks, using it for fees.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's illegal.
That's illegal. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, everything should be, that's why when you come into a tax office, you should be filing your 8863s, you should be filing your e-file form. You should be making sure that they're with a bank. If you're paying cash to get your taxes done, you should be kind of leery of that. Why am I paying you cash when this money has to be accounted for on your end? So you have to be careful about that. If a person say, I'm gonna send your money to your account and then you pay me cash later. You want to be careful about stuff like that.
All right, let's talk about some business taxes. A lot of people don't file their taxes in businesses, right?
There's 1120s, there's 1065s if you're a partnership, and then you have the Schedule C if you're a sole proprietor. The Schedule C is, you have to be careful with that form because, now we have the fence in where you have to go in, you have to send your ID in and tell them who you are behind that LLC. We had a lot of the PPP scamming. We had a lot of the different things that they did during COVID, the COVID money. So now the government or the federal government wants to know who is the person behind the LLC. So yes, business taxes, you want to make sure you have all your substantiation. You keep your bank statements from January to December. You're supposed to bring those statements into your practitioner, and they're supposed to look at those deductions. No commingling. Commingling is terrible. Commingling is when you have a business tax return and then you have a personal tax return, but you have been using each return for different things. For example, your business should just have your business expenses. Your personal should have personal expenses only. You should not be buying purses and bags and shoes, and it's a running tab in your business return because deductions cannot be utilized. They're supposed to be on your personal return.
Okay, so that's what you can basically, when you're getting your business together, that's some of the things you need to learn. And that's what we do at BLOT, is teach you the correct way to run these businesses, because you got a lot of people, especially young girls that just starting a business. They don't know. They buying purses, wigs, they buying trucks, they buying their friends some stuff, they buying their boyfriends some stuff. And then when it comes to their taxes, they got some rinky-dink person that's putting their taxes together. Say, I'm gonna put this over here, I'm gonna hide some of this, I'm gonna do some of that.
And the thing about that is, and that's very true, and the thing about that is it takes the IRS 2 years, approximately 2 years to catch up with you. Now, in that 2-year span, you have to think about this. If there's anything that needs to be taken off that return, deductions that they find that you don't have a receipt for, they're going to remove it, and then you're going to pay a penalty, and then you're going to also pay other fees that's in conjunction with that return not being precise and exact return.
All right, so I also want to ask you, like, a lot of people that come, they ask about, well, we had talks before, I think it was about the operating agreement. Business plans they don't have. They business is not structured right. When you doing the taxes, what do you see that's not structured right, that you always be like, oh my God, this ain't structured right. They got this and this don't make no sense?
It's definitely the operating agreement. I just noticed that people are all over the place as far as, like I said, about using your business for business and using your personal for personal. I can't overstate that, because when I go through a tax return and I'm trying to establish your deductions and I see gas expenses, for example, how do I know this is pertinent to your truck, your landscaping vehicle, as opposed to your regular vehicle? So a mileage log needs to be implemented with that bank statement to show, here's the odometer reading at the beginning of the year, here's the odometer reading at the end of the year. And these readings are supposed to be consistent with that business tax return. So the operating agreement is important. It's important for you to keep your all your paperwork together, like the state of Ohio information, your SS4 from the IRS, showing and the name that goes with that EIN, and the time and the date that you have to file that form, and what type of form it is that you have to file. So all that information should be in a folder someplace, and it should be secure because that's very confidential information.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you this question. A lot of people create LLCs to try to put their income that they're making in the LLC if they're getting Social Security, or they might be getting some type of supplemental income that they don't want the government to know. So they put all their money into a LLC, and then they say, okay, as long as I use it for certain things, then I'm good. Is that true?
You want to be careful with that. That too, when you're dealing with the government, you got to remember Social Security is a fund from the government, and your name is hidden behind the business. True enough. Your Social Security is affiliated with that business.
Right.
And what people don't understand is these computers talk to one another. The Social Security Administration's database, it talks to the IRS database. So you're only supposed to make a certain amount of money per month while you're on Social Security. You have to figure that out for yourself, what that allotment is. And then you still can work while you're on Social Security, but you have to be careful how much you bring in. Now, if you're working a business, you want to be careful in doing that, because that too is fraud if you're not doing the right thing with that.
All right, so let's talk about some stories that So I know a lot of young women, maybe men too, they like that earned income credit. What kind of benefits can they get now as being, having kids? Or what are the, I ain't say dangerous, but, the scary stories that you've seen happen as far as that earned income credit, tax credit, school teacher credit? or whatever credit is going on now?
Well, the earned income credit is also a government credit, non-refundable credit. You have the refundable credits and non-refundable credits. You have the earned income credit. You have the child tax credit. The most treacherous thing I've seen is if a parent. I mean, you can file up to 3 children on your tax return and receive those credits. A lot of women have 4 or 5 kids, and they say, "Oh, I'll just lend my Social Security and date of birth to somebody else." Mm-hmm. And then they'll fire the child. If they get the money, you don't know that they got the money. It went into their account. And so I hear a lot of mothers tell me, "I didn't get the money." They say they didn't get the money. And basically, there's nothing we can do about that. The only thing is that you have to remember those are your children, and all those children should be on your tax return. If you have 10 children, there is a place for you to put all 10 children on that tax return. You may not get the credit, but you will protect that Social Security and that date of birth from being out there with that identity theft. And that's what you want to think about. That money is not worth you putting selling your children's information. It's really sad. Right. I've seen that, and then I've seen a lot of people don't know about the ODC credit, the other dependent credit. That is a credit that you can get if you have an uncle or aunt or a mother who doesn't live with you. They live by themselves. They're collecting Social Security or retirement, but you're taking care of them. A lot of people don't know about the ODC credit. You can put that person on your tax return as long as you make sure they know. You go to them and ask them, "Hey, uncle, can I use your social and your date of birth so I can offset some of the payment on my taxes?" I mean, I think the credit is like up to $500. You get $200. So I mean, if you give them $50 or whatever you want to give them, but you've been taking care of them. So theoretically, a lot of people don't mind. They don't mind you doing that because as long as you're not doing anything, malicious with their information, they won't mind because they know. You've been taking care of them, and that credit is out there. That's a new credit. Be careful about the energy credit. The energy credit, you have to make sure you read up on the energy credit. A lot of people are putting furnaces and hot water tanks, and they're using that credit to offset their taxes. You want to be careful for that. I saw a horrific situation just the other day where I did a couple's taxes, and when I looked at their last year's taxes, because I'm always going to ask for your previous year taxes. That's how I can check the algorithms to see if the algorithms are going to be consistent with what I'm getting ready to do. Because if I'm getting ready to do a tax return the correct way, and last year someone did it the incorrect way, it's going to throw the algorithms off, and you could get audited because things are not consistent. The IRS may run off of consistency. And so when I went back and looked at that couple's taxes, I noticed that the previous practitioner, they put the energy credit on both of their taxes and filed them married, filing separate. So you have 5 tax statuses. Single, you have widower, married filing joint, married filing separate, and head of household. Head of household is only if you have children. You can only file that if you have children under 18, under 24 in college on that return. So in this case, this lady filed them separate so she can get 2 returns for one, and then she put both credits on there, and I was able to show that to them the other day when I did their taxes. And that's sad. That's sad to put somebody in that situation because it's going to fall on them, and it's up to them to actually tell the IRS who actually did the taxes for them, but theoretically, it's always going to fall on you, especially if it says self-prepared. You want to be careful about that.
Okay, so with the self-prepared, and you have somebody to do that, and they put self-prepared on it, pretty much they're saying what? They're not taking no responsibility for if they messed up on your taxes.
Be very leery of that.
Okay.
Be very leery of that. That is the worst. Sometimes they'll put a child on your tax return, and you don't even know it until something goes wrong, you get a letter. But when it says self-prepared, that means they're basically pushing all the responsibility upon you. Their name, their EIN, the name of their company, everything should be at the bottom of that return. And then there's that you have to sign. And at the bottom of that return, their signature should be there as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. And also, you're going to be doing a workshop coming up at the end of December. So basically, there's going to be a tax workshop at the end of December. I think we were looking at December. Hold on, let me get the date. It was going to be December the 22nd and the 23rd. It's a Sunday. It's going to be pretty much like about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So that'd be really good. You got to go to church. You come home and go eat, and then you come and learn some of this tax information for the next year. This is the perfect time before January creep around and catch you off guard. Start learning these taxes. Start learning where you're at in the taxes. Start getting your taxes together. I have a lot of people that, Montana, I ain't filed taxes in 6 years. I ain't filed taxes in 5 years. Oh, I got to file taxes on my business. I got to file taxes on myself. And then they just procrastinate, not knowing that if you just go ahead and get it done, get it over with, so that way you will see what you're looking at, it's better to do it that way, correct?
I totally agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this workshop will definitely help out in that. So whatever you got to face, just come on, ask Ms. Karla questions about, okay, this is going on. I'm scared, because a lot of people say they're scared. I'm scared of what the IRS going to do, or how much fines I'm looking at, or how this and this and that. So you were telling me earlier about if a person just come, just face what you're getting ready to face, and then work it out from there, right?
Absolutely. People fear what they don't know. It's a natural process. However, get in the know. Start little bit by little bit, coming to the workshop, asking questions. A lot of people are going to get a 1099. No taxes taken out of that.
Yeah.
It's fearful. It's scary. But there's payment plans. There's all type of alternatives. But you want to come and you want to face the monster, because sometimes it's not even that bad. And you feel a whole lot better once it's over with.
And then they got a whole bunch of tax discounts, tax codes that kind of maybe offset some of those taxes.
Tax credits, different things that you don't know about. There's certain questions that I will ask you. Like I said, just keep your receipts. Make sure you keep your bank statements, keep all your substantiation of what you've done. And, I mean, you'll be fine if you just come and learn. You know, you just got to come and learn.
Also, do you have anything that you want to give out to the community as far as taxes of next year getting ready? Because I know the IBO something is coming. The deadline is coming up. So a lot of people ask questions about, okay, what does that mean? Do I need to file? Do I need to register the business? What happens if I do register the business?
FinCEN.org.
Okay.
You have to go to FinCEN.org. It's so important. FinCEN.org is the federal government is asking you to register your EIN. You do have to upload your license. If you leave that EIN out there and it's not registered to any entity, any person, then what they probably would do is shut it down. But along with shutting it down, you're going to be facing jail time, is what they're saying at their website. And you're also going to be facing a $500 per day fine.
$500 per day. A lot of that. Well, I mean, what if you have people that, forgot they did something, or somebody did something in somebody else's name? I mean, that's kind of like sticky.
That's the whole purpose of them doing that, is because there's so much fraud and there's so much identity theft and different things that are taking place. They're trying to close in on who owns what and who, with the PPP money, a lot of people were opening up businesses. They didn't have a business.
Right.
And they were just doing all type of stuff. So this is their way of policing. Is this entity yours?
Right.
If it's not yours, just dispose of the business. I've been disposing of EIN all week. People Ohio Business Gateway, I've been working with them. If you own a bar, if you own a business and you are supposed to be paying sales tax and you're not doing that you'll be getting these letters from the Attorney General saying you owe thousands, 5,000 or 6,000, and there's a way that I can rectify that, and you won't owe anything, but you have to dispose of the business.
All right. Now, did you want to give your personal information, your business information out, as far as if they can get in touch with you? You have a website, they can email you, or they can call you on the phone. Is there you want to give out to the community?
I want everybody to come out to the class so you can learn, even if you are trying to do your own taxes, even if you want to open up a tax business, or even if you just want to understand what is these forms for. What is a Schedule C? What is a Schedule E? Email address is clevelandtaxpros@gmail.com. The website is clevelandtaxpros.com. Well, it's clevelandtaxpros@gmail. And then the website is clevelandtaxpros.com. The phone is 216-382-7773. But I want everybody to come out to the workshop so that we can talk about old returns, new returns. I have already did a few estimates for 2024. 2024 is going to be a brutal year. Instead of 10% coming out of your paychecks, you'll notice that the tax code, the president did change the tax code about 4 years ago. So only 8% is coming out of your federal, state. So sometimes you may not get as much back if you don't have any children. And also the middle class are going to be hit pretty hard this year for 2024, 2025 in my forecasting.
Okay, you get your own for it. All right. So pretty much we are running out of time, but like she said, please come to the workshop. It's going to be on December 22nd at 4:00 p.m. at the BBLOT office, 503 East 200th Street, Suite 103. But then the next following week was going to be the 29th at the same time, 4:00, 503 East 200th Street. You can give me a call at 216-972-1700 to register for that tax workshop. And then also we have the business 501c3 and the for-profit training on December the 14th. It's going to be on a Saturday from 10 to 3:30. If you want to learn about the grants, if you want to learn about starting a business, you want to learn about the 501c3, the nonprofit, the everything, LLCs, the sole proprietorships, insurance, whatever, you want to register for that. And then that will be on Eventbrite, and it is a free workshop. So it's a free workshop on the 14th. You want to register for the tax workshop, give me a call so we can get you registered for that as well. In January, January 4th, we're going to have group home training. You want to know that nonprofit, for-profit group home training? That's going to be scheduled January 4th and January 18th. Other than that, my time is up. This is BBLOT Podcast Studio signing off, and I'm your host, Montana. I will see you next week.